Hey everybody, and thank you so much for watching. This is part 3 of a 3-part series of how to connect scales and chords together. The reason it's important to understand how to do this is because it's going to help you learn how to improvise. It's going to help you make choices. It's going to give you more creative freedom on the guitar. And creative freedom to me is the metric that I use for my own progress. And I think that despite style or preferred method of playing the guitar or any instrument, the more freedom you have with your instrument, the more control you have of your instrument, the more balance you have in your playing, the more advanced you are. And working towards having command and control and balance over these concepts is a great thing to practice, and it's a great way to get you closer to creative freedom. The first video that I made was about how you create a major scale using whole steps and half steps. The second video was all about how to harmonize that scale. So if you haven't checked those out, that's going to be helpful to understand this video, which is the kinds of chords you get. So let's talk about the kinds of chords you get from a major scale. I'm just going to give you the answer right off the bat and then I'll explain. There are 3 major chords and 3 minor chords and 1 diminished. It does not matter what key you're in. Every major scale produces 3 major chords, 3 minor chords, and 1 diminished chord. And those chords happen in the same places of the scale. If you look behind me, I have chords 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 that represent the 7 different notes of a major scale from the beginning to the end. Again, these notes come from a combination of steps. The very first chord of a major scale produces a major chord. In the key of C, when we stack thirds, we got C, E, and G. If I put those on my guitar, I get a C open chord. The first chord of any major key is a major chord. The second chord is always minor. In the key of C major, when we stack thirds, we got D, F, and A. When I put those on my guitar, D, F, A, I get an open D minor chord. Again, the takeaway here is that the first chord is major. It does not matter what major key you're in. The very first note, the root of any major scale, is the root of a major chord. The second note of any major scale is the root of a minor chord. In the key of C, it's D minor. The third note, E minor. In the key of C, E, G, and B. If I put E, G, and B on my guitar, I get E, G, B. Here's B and E again repeated. It's an open E minor chord. The takeaway, the third chord of every major scale, does not matter what key, is minor. The fourth chord, when I stack thirds in the key of C, I get F, A, and C. If I put F, A, and C on my guitar in the open position, here's my 3rd fret, F, A, C. F major chord. Takeaway, the 4th chord, the 4th note of any major scale gives you the root of a major chord. In the key of C, it's F major. 5th note. When we stack thirds in the key of C, we got G, B, and D. If I play those on my guitar, G, B, D, here's another D and a G, so the 3rd fret. It's an open G major chord. The 5th chord of any major key is major. 6, A, C, and E. In the key of C, A, C, and E, when I put it down on my guitar, A, 2nd fret of my D string is an E, 2nd fret of G is A, 1st fret of my B string is a C. That gives me A minor. The 6th chord, also known as the relative minor, which means that the key of A minor is the same notes as the key of C major, just starts on A. It's another subject. The 6th chord of every major key is minor. And then the last chord, when we stacked thirds in the key of C, we got B, D, and F. That's going to give us B diminished. The 7th chord of any major scale, does not matter what key you're in, it's going to be diminished. I know I'm stressing this and repeating myself a lot, but write this down on a piece of paper. The first note, fourth note, and fifth note of any major scale are the roots of major chords. The second, the third, and the sixth note of any major scale are the roots of minor chords, and the seventh note of every major scale is the root of a diminished. Now, put that to the side. None of that matters unless you can play it. And playing it means practicing it. How do you practice this? One of the things that you can do right now is, first of all, learn how to play 2 voicings for major. 2 different ways, aside from the open voicings that I have behind me, and I'm going to include these voicings in the description. And then the first thing you need to do is practice integrating this into your playing. One of the great ways to do this is just by putting on a metronome and training yourself to play 2 different shapes for a C chord. C chord, 2 beats, second shape, 2 beats. Pick a different key, play both shapes. Pick a different key, play both shapes. Until you go through all the keys you've played and practiced and got the 2 new chord shapes in your playing for major. Then you do that for minor, then you do that for diminished. Another thing that you can do after you've learned the voicings is to literally take whole step, half step, whole step, half step, and play that up 1 string. Pick a note. Start on the first fret of your guitar, on your E string or your A string, and play up the major scale on 1 string. And identify, that's note 1. That's the root of a major chord. That's the second note. That's the third note. That's the fourth note. That's the fifth note, the sixth note, the seventh note. And play it up and down. Then play the scale as chords. Play F major, then G minor, then A minor, B flat major, C major, D minor, E diminished. That's all the chords in F major. Play up C major, play this, but on just 1 string. Do that in every key. Memorize the whole step, half step combination. Memorize the fact that each note in the whole step, half step combination is the root of a specific kind of chord. I just want to help give you the things, the tools you need to be more creative on the guitar and feel like you're progressing and feel like you're connecting the dots. Subscribe. Let me know in the comments if this is helpful or if it's not helpful. Let me know if this method is useful. And if it is, I'll keep doing it. If it's not, I'll change what I'm doing. Let me know what you guys think and go practice. All right, guys, I'll see you next time.